All right. Hey, everyone. There we go. Let me adjust this thing. All right. Sorry about my sound. Okay. Hold on. Okay. There we go. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Mark here, Mark P Markets. And thank you for joining me for another Bitcoin day trade session strategy for beginners. Okay. The idea behind this session here is to basically look at Bitcoin on the day trade time frame, meaning the 5-minute chart. And what we're going to do here is look for setups in the context of this economic event that just came out. Okay, so this is a good learning experience, especially if you're a beginner. Now, one thing I have to say about day trades, of course, I'm not going to keep the charts that small, by the way. I'm just doing this part for the talk section. Okay, I'm going to make the charts bigger, so don't worry. This is not, as a beginner, I'm showing you the mindset and I'm showing you the thought process and decision-making process that goes into day trades, so you have a much better idea. All right, yesterday someone came to my stream and asked me about my style and was asking me how come I don't use RSI, how come I don't use moving average and all that stuff. And I want to demonstrate that. I want to answer that question here because I was not able to adequately answer that question. I went into a rant, of course, because when people ask me that, I go right into a rant. But he mentioned, well, what about the horizontal lines? Isn't that the same thing? And that's the question I want to answer. Okay, so we're going to get into that in this session. All right, so before we get started, let me just put this up over here. Okay, this is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right, so again, in this session, we're going to be looking at the Bitcoin price action in light of the CPI report. Okay, so let me make an adjustment over here, and let me pull up this. Is this the right one? There we go. All right, so made the charts bigger, made me smaller, and it's much easier on your eyes, right? Okay, so on the left side of my screen here, this is Bitcoin on the bigger picture, okay, the daily chart. Now, you guys remember yesterday when we were going over this, I said CPI is going to be a binary event. Either we're going to get vertical higher, or we're going to get vertical lower, or nothing. Well, look, the market gave us an answer. We have vertical higher, okay? So this is why you could not go into this with any opinions. Now, after the fact, of course, everyone's going to say, oh, yeah, so he was along. That was easy. It could have went the other way, okay? Now, I don't know what the CPI report was exactly because I don't pay attention to the actual information. I look at the price action. The market tells me what to think, all right? So clearly, I'm guessing that the CPI report came out cold or something, right? There's less inflation than people thought and blah, blah, blah. And that's a positive thing because that means the Fed is going to have to now be lighter on rates, right? That's what I'm guessing. That's what I see from this price action here. Now, so again, after the fact, this looks easy. Oh yeah, just wait for the report and buy it. It could have went the other way. The other thing you have to realize is you can't apply logic to these situations because the report may have come out one way and then the market reacts to your logic. And next thing you know, it completely turns around and completely does the opposite thing. And now you're in it and you're caught. Okay. So you cannot play this game with opinions, especially if you think you're going to apply your logic to economic opinions. You don't know all the information that's going on in the world, and the market does know all the information. So you can't play that game and think you're going to win. You may win randomly. Okay. A coin flip can also give you the same result. So again, we don't want to play the coin flip game. You don't make any money with coin flips, not consistently anyway. So let's now talk about the day trade game plan. And before I do that, let me just say hi to everyone. Right, we got Bill, good to see you. Alice, all right. Eligius, Stacy, nice to see you. Han, okay. Levant, all right, cool. All my regulars. So, and by the way, if you're watching this video after the fact, check the links in the description. I have a few things going on. If you're interested in learning more about my perspective, again, because I want to answer that question about the horizontal lines, my training program speaks specifically about horizontal lines and why I use those compared to something like a moving average. Okay, you can learn more about my training program in the link in the description. And also here, check this out, right? Just as a call to action, because I've been working on this, you can go to markpremarkets.com. How cool is that, right? Anyway, so yeah, check that out. Also, if you're not in my Discord community, please join it. There's a free area, and be careful for the fake me. There's a fake me running around and he asks people for money. I'm working on trying to make sure that this guy can't keep getting in, but obviously this platform doesn't care much about user safety. Okay, they're more interested in video games and animations than they are about protecting people from scams. Anyway, so the fake me will ask you for USDT payments or try to make up like a nice friendly conversation with you. That's not me. Okay, my number is 4103 on there. The fake me always has Mark P Markets and some other number. Please, I can't keep talking about that. I waste a lot of time with that. There is a warning channel. It says warning, read first. Bill put some very helpful information in there. Please read that channel for all the information and details on that, okay, about that server. Anyway, it's all in the links in the description. Please check that out if you'd like to support me. Now, let's talk about the day trade game plan here, shall we? We're going to begin here with the 30-minute chart. Now, normally on these streams, I spend time with the major markets, but I'm not going to do that anymore. All right, I'm going to spend more time on like day trade situation. I mean, if people ask me about a major market, we'll probably look into like the bond market or something. By the way, is Stian here? Have you seen the euro? I don't think Stian is here. Hey, Rahman. Hey, Ramin, nice to see you. Thank you for joining. All right, cool. A new name. So yeah, the euro's like at 106.5. Okay, I have to bring up the euro. I don't have the euro chart here, but I want to mention something about the euro because I had a short. All right, the short was from, what was that, 104.70, I think was the short. And I got out on Friday, I believe it was on Friday, for a 90 pip loss. Okay, the original stop on that thing was 200 pips. That stop would have been realized today. All right, so people say, oh, well, you still lost money. Right, but I saved myself 110 pips. People don't appreciate that. All right, I had a 200 pip stop loss. I got out for minus 90 pips on Friday because it was not behaving properly. And I had taken 2 losses previously on euro trades, which, looking back and evaluating the situation, those losses were not necessary because there were opportunities to break even that I had not taken. Okay, but looking back and judging it fairly, there were opportunities to break even. On the third trade that I took, there was no opportunity to break even. It just pretty much went against me, and there was no real time to move that stop. Okay, anyway, so let's get into this Bitcoin situation, and I want to answer the question. I want to address the situation with the horizontal lines. So first of all, so the question was, well, aren't horizontal lines the same as using moving averages, RSI, and all that stuff? And the reason why they're not, in the way that they're not the same, is horizontal lines are based on actual activity that took place previously. Okay, a moving average is a price point in time. It's an average price point in time that takes into account the current price and all the prices going back to a certain period of time. It's backward looking, and it's not based on any specific activity, right? And people, since the whole world uses the same moving averages, sometimes they all react at the same price, but that's extremely random. Whereas a horizontal line is actually based on activity. Okay, and I mean, look how many times there were reactions off of this particular line. This line was drawn way back. Okay, I mean, in this case, this line, I mean, look where I drew it from. Okay, and this goes back to what, December, the beginning of December, and look how many times there were reactions there, right? Again, you can't exactly trade on that in advance, but my point is this: the horizontal lines give me a reference point for the future. Now, what to do at the reference point is going to depend on the price action that occurs there. I don't step in front of it, okay? These lines are also random, like everything else. There's no advantage to using them. I go into a lot of detail about this on my training program, but that's the point, is they give me a point of reference. This line up here was a resistance level until it got blown right through, okay? The CPI number. This area over here, right, this rectangle that you see, that was also an area that I was anticipating resistance. We talked about that yesterday, and that got blown through. This is a 30-minute chart, okay? So that became a support, and as you can see, there was, if you used it as a support when it retested, there was some value there. Now, how do you use that? Again, people want like a precise thing. They want to be able to just like put an order and forget about it and make this easy. It's not like that. They're reference points. So you need to get a setup there. You need confirmation from price. That's all about what step 6 is all about. I talked about in my stream yesterday, when I'm putting on day trades, I'm basically looking at only 3 steps of my 6-step process. Okay? And that's steps 1, 2, and 6. My students should know what I'm talking about. If you're new and you've never taken my training, then you're not going to know what I'm talking about. But step 6 is all about confirmation and using particular candle patterns and letting the market get you into the trade. All right, so with all that background, let's now talk about the CPI and the effect here. So this is all about CPI. Have you seen the S&P? Have you seen the NASDAQ? Let's just pull one of those up real quick on this other chart. All right, because again, people, they don't realize that markets trade with each other. Okay, there's an intermarket relationship. That's what it's called. Look at the NASDAQ. All right, now I've been pointing this out over and over, this correlation with the stock market and Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not trade in isolation. So you can get some helpful context by observing other markets. That's called intermarket analysis. That's something we learn as a CMT. But none of you are CMTs, so that's not the first thing that comes to mind. Everyone just grasps at the obvious. So they watch a fake guru. The fake guru pulls up one chart, and the fake guru has all these oscillators on there, and you think that there's some kind of advantage to that, and there's none. Okay, markets are random. That guy that was questioning me yesterday, I get these questions all the time. It's normal. But the thing is, here's his problem. His problem is he still thinks markets are not random. He still thinks markets have some sort of way to beat them, and that way is available to retail traders. He believes in the lie. Okay, and I have also believed in that lie for 15 years. And it wasn't until I understood that markets were random most of the time that's really like the big light bulb that went off, and that helped me start to actually make real progress, is that concept. Not, oh, look, the RSI, it gave me a buy signal and that's the secret. No, that's all retail nonsense. You need to get yourself out of the retail mindset as soon as possible. If you're just in this less than a year, it's going to take you some time. It took me 15 years. But the point is, and no one told me the market was random. I had to figure that out. No one tells you. Okay, there's a lot of academic research that supports that, but I also was not interested in knowing that the market was random. I wanted to believe that the market was not random, so that I could believe that I could make money with some kind of magical technique or some kind of magical system. We all go through this, okay, and I'm very stubborn as well. So I believe that. Plus, as a CMT, we're taught that, charting and stuff is, forecasting and all these other things. So we're kind of indoctrinated to believe that markets are not random, but they are. Okay, so anyway, my point is this. Look at the NASDAQ, right? We're testing this resistance here. This is going to suck a lot of longs in. There's going to be a lot of excitement, blah, blah, blah. Keep in mind, we have the FOMC tomorrow. So after this move today, you like this sets a tone, and there may be some bullish follow through, and that's what we're going to talk about here with Bitcoin, right? As far as day trades go, I have to mention that. But the thing is, going nuts here, buying, thinking, okay, the market's safe now. No way. All right, just because we have this. This is, by the way, this is a consolidation on the NASDAQ. There's a name for that, where where instead of you have lines converge, you have trend lines that are basically moving away from each other. Okay, that's also not exactly a bullish pattern. This is a very bad spot to be getting long. All right, enough of the NASDAQ. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Bitcoin. Okay, and we're here to talk about it on the 30-minute chart. We're going to start with that because we're going to formulate our day trade game plan. Traders are poor. Yeah, Bill, I saw that comment that you put in the thing there, and yeah, people. I think just people in general, because you know what it is, Bill? They're motivated by, I need to make money now. I want to make money now. I want to make profits, right? That's how we all come into this game, and it's the completely wrong way. If you do anything in the Captain Obvious way, meaning I'm here to make money, the markets are going to make me money because the markets are like an ATM. If you believe the garbage that's fed to you, you will pay for that. Okay, you are going to pay, whether you like it or not. You will pay, and you're not going to pay me. You're going to pay the market. Okay, and the market is not a very nice teacher, that's for sure, because the market takes your money and it won't tell you why. So anyway, you don't want to believe me, you will find out. So here we go. Let's talk about Bitcoin now on the 30-minute chart. Let's get to this. I'm going to keep this at 30 minutes today, Bill. I was very good yesterday. I only went 2 minutes over. So first things first, game plan, right? We want momentum. As a day trader, you're always thinking both sides. This is not a good way to start if you're a beginner, by the way. You should be starting with the bigger picture. I mean, bigger picture trades like swing trades and investing. That's where you should start learning from, and you should get a good academic foundation first. But with that being said, people want action. So here it is, Bill. So here's the thing, right? That's a bullish structure right there, clearly. And we have the CPI report behind us. So there is a catalyst present today. I warned people yesterday. I said, today is going to be a lousy day. Do you remember that, people? And this was mostly yesterday right here, right? This price action inside there. And if you looked at the NASDAQ and S&P, they were pretty lousy until the close. Then there was some kind of squeeze at the close. Anyway, the point is this. We have our CPI. We have a bullish structure. We don't want to fight this, all right? So you may say, well, look, this is a short up here. That's a short. Well, let's look back here a bit. Do we have any resistance levels in near, over the recent time going all the way back to November? Do we have any levels? We have some action right there. You see that? This dates all the way back to November. What is this? November 10th? I mean, this back here, I mean, that's quite some time back, on the day trade time frame, but there is a level there. So that's a point of reference. And as we can see, there was a reaction. Look at the pin bar. All right. So obviously, there's action there. Now, knowing that, okay, so that's a resistance point of reference, but my structure's bullish. So what do? Well, I'm not going to be too crazy about selling into this unless you're long and you want to take a profit. This area would be good for that. Okay, not shorting because you're fighting this CPI momentum, and that's when you have a powerful catalyst like that. Don't get in the habit of fighting it. Trust me, I've tried. It doesn't work. So what we want to find here are support levels. Now, I don't talk about this much, but you can do this. You can draw the retracements when there's no clear structures right nearby. You can use the retracements for a point of reference. And in this case, we really want to look at this one right here. Okay. Now you notice my tool is missing a lot of lines, right? It's not all full of stuff like everyone else's. There's a reason for that. All right. That's my training program. But all I can tell you is less is more. So this area right here is going to be an important support level as the market pulls back. So that means as a day trader, I'm interested in longs if price can retest somewhere around here. Now, keep in mind, this is a 30-minute chart. We're going to go to a 5-minute chart, right? And price, if this momentum is really that strong, it may not get back to this point, all right? So we're going to consider this an extreme level for our day trade purposes. That's going to be an extreme support. So we're going to have to look at something smaller than that. And we don't really have much price action here. All we have is like a reference point up here. And then we have this more of like this extreme support, which is around what, 617. And right now we're fooling around 882. And this thing has to pull back 200 points. It's possible, but that may take a few hours, right? So we may not have a trade there. So another thing you can do if you want a tighter reference, but this is not going to give you the most reliable levels, is you isolate the most recent swing, which is this. That's the most recent swing, okay? And you measure that. And that's going to give us another one. And look where the support is, right? It's basically where it's trying to find support right now. That's a very highly unreliable support, but it's a reference point. So it's something to keep in mind when we go over to our 5-minute chart. What price was that? That's basically the low of this candle. So 17,842. We're going to round that to 17,8 even. Okay. So I'm moving fast here. I'm not explaining a lot of things because, again, most of the people here are students, and you should be able to follow along. All right. So now we're going to switch over to the 5-minute chart. Okay. The 5-minute chart is what step 6 is all about: confirmation and setups. All right. Again, this requires that the game plan, the context we got from the bigger picture. The bigger picture told us that we should be thinking on the long side, and we should not be fighting this market when you have a catalyst like CPI behind you. We have a point of reference for our support, right? For our longs, that's going to be this 17.6 area, okay? That area right here. And then we have a tighter support area around the 17.8. We're going to keep that in mind if we get a solid confirmation there. All right. Otherwise, we're basically looking for a higher low. That's what we're looking for. Now, you say, oh, higher low, but look at this. Isn't this a bearish structure? It is, but you cannot ignore the context. This is the context. So can't ignore that. Looking for a support. Supports should generally hold. That is our day trade expectation. Now, if I manage to get a trade off, I don't think I'm going to be able to get one off in this session because I don't think the market's going to give me the opportunity. But if I manage to get a trade off, I'm looking at maybe 50 or 60 points of risk, something like that. And I'm looking to make at least that, or hopefully more than that, as a profit target. I mean, 100-point profit target is within reason. That may take an hour to play out, but that's what we're looking at. All right. So we'll see how this thing goes over the next few minutes here. Now, while we're talking about that, while we're waiting for that, let me see what kind of questions that I have here. I have some stuff going on. Okay. Hey, Bach, too much people playing with money. They can't afford to lose, or having a paper loss for too long of a time. Yeah, well, Han, I mean, that's true. And you know what? People just don't have the patience. They don't realize that the skills in this game, like Bill put some interesting stuff about game of skill and game of chance the other day. There's a lot of really good stuff in that learning resources channel for you free people who don't want to spend money on anything and you want to kind of get like a good grasp on the academic side. I have a learning resources channel in the server, and I asked Bill to put some stuff in there. Man, he went above and beyond what I asked him to put in there, and he put all this really valuable stuff, and it's free. I mean, if you're serious about this game, you should at least look and see what's in there. And just, even if you don't want to click, if you're too lazy and you don't want to click on the links, at least look. He wrote some explanations. At least read those. Okay. So anyway, the point is, yeah, people want stuff now. Like the attention span is very small. People want action now. They want results now. They don't realize that to play this game, this is the worst game in the world to play if you're trying to make money. The worst game in the world, especially on the day trade timeframes. But all these fake YouTubers out there make it look glamorous and all that, and people buy into that dream. And it's encouraged by the industry because these fake gurus basically act as sales agents that you don't have to pay, right? You don't have to put them on salary. You don't have to give them any benefits. You just pay them on commission. And for them, they don't have to do much work. It's passive income, right? They just put a link and everyone clicks on it and they just make, a bunch of money just making a couple of videos and playing whatever they do with themselves, for the whole day, which is probably nothing. That's how it works. So as a retail trader, it's in your best interest to educate yourself as much as possible on how the game works. Like the point that I was trying to get to is the skill. Everyone focuses on the wrong thing. They say the skill is in reading the chart. Okay. They point you to the chart. Oh, look at the RSI. Oh, look at these moving averages, right? That's where you think the skill is. And you think, well, if I learn those things, I'll make money. That's completely wrong. The skill is in how you manage risk, how you take losses. Okay. And having all that figured out in advance, how the game works. That is where the skill is. So please understand that. Also, having a strong grasp on your own behavior. That's an important part of this too. That, if you want to call that a skill, that's an important part. And that's where patience comes in. So patience is not something that you learn from a book, right? Patience is basically how you control yourself. And you have to have a very good grasp on that. If you don't, forget day trades. You will wipe yourself out if you haven't yet. So you can't react to obvious information. You have to understand what you're trying to exploit. And as a day trader, basically what we're doing is we're exploiting the mistakes of people that are ignorant. That's what it comes to. Yeah, I know it's not fair, but the market is not a fair place. Okay, I mean, it's the market is. You want to talk about unfair? The industry, or the market makers and the institutions, they have a huge advantage over us at all times. You want to talk about unfair? So as a retail trader, there aren't too many. We have no advantages unless you find some kind of statistical advantage, and no one is going to share that with you. You're not going to buy one from anyone. No one has some kind of secret. That's all fake. Okay, because no one, if you have a true statistical advantage, you don't share it, because if you do, the advantage will be arbed out of the market. So there's no incentive to share it. You share things that don't work, right? Oh, that's a strategy. It's just random, and they package it together, they sell it to you as a strategy, and they make money off the strategy, not off of the strategy itself. They make money selling the strategy. Understand? The people who sell the shovels. You understand? So please keep that in mind. I know it's not very encouraging what I say, and that's why I have like no one following me ever. But we need to be honest here. You need to be honest with yourself if you want to make money at this. And I keep telling you, this is the worst way to go about it. Start with the bigger picture. Start more from like the investing perspective. It's easier in many ways. Yes, the risk is still there. The risk is high. You're taking a larger magnitude of risk, but that can be controlled with your sizing. You have to understand sizing strategies and all that other stuff. Anyway, I will be getting into more my portfolio soon, and I'll be making some videos about that, but not yet. Okay. You give good advice. Well, thanks, Bach. I'm glad you find it good. A lot of people don't want to hear this. They want to hear the dream. They want, you know what they want to see? They want to see me pull out my phone, right? My cell phone, and with a MetaTrader account on it with some big profitable number. Look how much money I made. See that? You can make that too. That's what they want to see, Bach. And that's what generates business. It's a dream. It's fake. Anyone that does that, lying to you. Okay, you can fake MetaTrader accounts, by the way. You can fake P&Ls on MetaTrader. I'm not the only one who says that either. And I know for a fact you can. Is there anything such as, no, but not really. See, Bach, that's a good question. And that's what I use the NASDAQ relationship for. Okay, so that's intermarket analysis. Sometimes, one market will lead another market, but you cannot trade on that. You can use it as a point of reference. Like the NASDAQ was pushing highs, like and I use that for day trades a lot, right? We go to the NASDAQ, right? Look at the NASDAQ here on the 5-minute chart. Okay, look at the NASDAQ, look at Bitcoin. This is both on the 5-minute chart. The NASDAQ is selling slightly over there, right? It's got the lower high. Look at Bitcoin. It's not exactly following it to the T, but you can see it's kind of behind a bit, right? NASDAQ is pushing that low. The Bitcoin just established a lower high. You see that? So you can say that the NASDAQ leads. You can use that as a guide. I've been pointing this out over and over. I'm just waiting for the whole army of fake gurus to start copying me, because, they don't know these things, and they copy me because no one knows about it. Anyway, you can use that as a lead, but you cannot take trades on that, because the relationship is not one-to-one, and it changes. So there is an random element to it. So, NASDAQ wants to lead lower. Okay, no problem. But we still cannot lose sight of the fact that we have a bullish catalyst in play. That CPI report is still in play. So this is just basically an opportunity for a pullback to go long. That is how we have to view that. Don't get bearish on this. There's no reason to. We're not pushing lows. We're just forming basically a bearish consolidation, right? Which is that within the context of a bullish situation. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. All right. So back to this chart here. So I'm still looking for longs. I'm probably not going to be able to put a long on in the time span that I have here. You have time to look at Ethereum. We could take a look at Ethereum, which is better for, you can use either. NASDAQ, S&P, to be honest with you, S&P is the leader of everything. All right, when I trade stocks, I always refer to the S&P, whether it's a swing trade. I don't day trade stocks. I really don't day trade stocks anymore. I actually trade the futures themselves. So S&P is the biggest market, and probably you can consider that the leader. But NASDAQ and S&P pretty much move the same. The NASDAQ is just a little more aggressive, NASDAQ 100, because there's less stocks in it. So it moves a little more aggressively, faster. Okay. But either one works. Okay. Look at Andrew's pitchfork if you want. Okay. Look at Andrew's pitchfork. Is that what they say about it, Wedge? So Bill likes to educate himself on other things, which is the right thing to do. Whether the technique works or not really doesn't matter. Like I spent years working with Elliott Wave before I figured out how best to use it. But in and of itself, it doesn't really provide, there's no advantage. Same with like Andrew's pitchfork, all those things. But it doesn't hurt to learn, okay? Because you may get some perspective from it, even if you don't use it. So I always encourage people to learn about the RSI. You want to learn about it and because you like that sort of thing, okay, cool. Just don't expect it to get you anywhere. That's all I'm telling you, right? And people don't want to waste time. They want things that are effective. Okay, that's why I made my training program, because I focus on only the things that matter. And a lot of people, the people here are all in it, so they know. But a lot of people who aren't in it, they don't appreciate that. They don't appreciate less is more. They want me to come out with some kind of complex, crazy monkey system, okay, that's going to promise them millions of dollars of profits. That's what they want. And if I put that together and sell it for $1,000, I bet you I get a lot of people to pay for that. But instead, I have a very inexpensive program that really promotes protecting yourself and minimizing losses and all those things, and no one wants it. Okay, so I mean that's the nature. I can't change human nature, and I'm not gonna, I have to be true to my style and to myself. I'm not gonna just make stuff up just because I'm trying to rob people. I don't do that. I'm not like the other people in the industry. Okay, so anyway, someone had mentioned yesterday. Someone had said, "Oh, because we were talking about safety with exchanges, and I was telling people you don't want to keep all your money. You can't trust any of these exchanges, any of them. I don't care where they're located. I don't care if it's Coinbase. You cannot trust them." And someone said, "Oh, no one really talks about that." I wonder why. A lot of these people are in with the exchanges, but no one talks about it because everyone assumes that they're safe, right? And they just take it for granted. You cannot take that safety for granted after that FTX situation. Everyone's just kind of forgetting about it. Everyone's just kind of forgetting about that stuff because everyone gets complacent. You can't. That money, if you have your money at Binance, someone can come out with a tweet, and next thing you know, there's a run and you can't get your money out. And it can happen in minutes. It can happen overnight. It's a risk we all take by being involved with any of these exchanges. So unless they have SIPC insurance, which none of these exchanges do, none of these exchanges are regulated, they can do whatever they want. Okay. If you have a stockbroker, on the other hand, like, a well-known stockbroker, like Interactive Brokers, they have SIPC insurance. They're regulated, okay, by the SEC, and all of their derivatives are regulated by the NFA. It's another story. They're not allowed to commingle customer funds with company activities. They're not allowed to do that stuff. They're regularly checked by regulators, right? That's a stockbroker here in the US. So that's called regulation. These exchanges don't have any of that. Pulled money out of Binance in fear of bank run currently with this whole situation. You can't, I don't blame you. What I tell people is, keep working capital there. If you day trade or swing trades, just keep enough money just to play that game only. Anything else you should not keep there. Some people keep all their money there. That's a mistake. You're taking a lot of risk. Okay, maybe nothing happens, but you're better off being cautious than not with your money, because If they have a problem, you can say goodbye to your money. Okay, that's just the way it is. That's the game we play. So, anyway, but I bring that up. I'm not bringing it up to scare people. I just mentioned that because, someone had mentioned that no one talks about that. None of the other fake gurus talk about that. I wonder why. All right. So anyway, they're charging money into the thousands of dollars for software. Garbage in, garbage out. Who, Binance is doing that? Charging money? Oh, no, Vantage. Oh, right. Have you heard of? Yeah, sure. I've heard of them. Sure. They've been around a long time. Vantage Point, blah, blah, blah. I've heard of them. Yeah, they just have Captain Obvious stuff. They're complete garbage. I'm definitely familiar with them. Right. Whenever someone has software for sale, whatever, just Google, just type in their name, software, or whatever, and then type in scam or complaints afterward. And then you get these websites, you get these things where people complain about it, and then you learn the reality behind whatever it is that they're selling. You start to see consistent complaints about certain things. All that stuff is garbage. Okay, there's no advantage to anything, and they're not going to sell you an advantage. You have to figure this out yourself. Okay, I hate to be, but you are. I know. I'm looking at the time, Bill. I'm watching it. I see it. Okay, so I have to. There's no trade here. I mean, I'm waiting for a trade, and there's no trade. So there's nothing we can do. All I want to leave you guys with this. We have FOMC tomorrow. So it's very possible that, we had the CPI run, and it's very possible that the momentum basically evaporates and we get nothing for the remainder of the day. That's very possible. All right. Because again, we have these back-to-back economic events. So again, FOMC it comes out at 2:00 Eastern time tomorrow, and the press conference is at 2:30. You may get a similar reaction to this. You may get a complete opposite reaction. Not a good idea to take positions going into FOMC. It's not a good idea. Let the market figure it out and then look to see if there's any opportunities after or by the close of the day if you're looking for swing trades. That's what I will be looking for. So again, please keep that in mind. Today, the rest of the day may be worth just taking off. Like there's no action here. You don't want to force trades. All right. So I hope you got some value out of this lesson. The idea here is to kind of give you an idea of like the mindset and the thought process and where I get the ideas from or how an idea develops. If you want to learn more about the details and the 6 steps that I teach, you can go to my training program. And I also have a student area in the Discord server. Some students have recently put some of their homework assignments in there, and that's great. It's nice to see. I'm going to comment on them when I have some more time, but it's good to see that because that was the whole purpose of putting that area together, is for a place for students to not only go through the program, but if they want to get feedback on their work, on their homework, hey, am I doing this right? There's a place for you to share that information. All students have access to that. Okay, I'm sorry I couldn't go over Ethereum. Konstantinos, I got to wrap this up. Otherwise, I'll be here all day, and I can't keep this. I have to stick to my time. As long as you want for a time, it's yeah, I know, but I got to go. I can't. This is extremely consuming for me, and it affects like my entire day. And I don't get a whole lot out of this, to be honest with you. So that's why I have to keep it limited. All right. Anyway, so hey, everyone, I hope you got something out of it. I hope you got some value. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Again, check the links in the description portion. I hope to see you in the chat room. Enjoy the rest of your day, or the rest of your evening, and thanks for watching.